Want up-to-the-minute scores and odds direct from Las Vegas? Then check out our WagerTalk odds page. You'll get all the latest lines along with moves as they happen from all the biggest books in Las Vegas, including Westgate Superbook, Circa, Golden Nugget, Wynn, Stations, CG, and South Point, just to name a few. Best of all, it's absolutely free.
Welcome, everybody, to Wager Talk Today. It is June 10th. It is Thursday. Teddy Covers joining us. And Teddy, this is one of, if not the most jam-packed shows we are going to do in a while. We got Dave Cokin right off the top. He's talking Avs and Golden Knights, a couple of baseball games. We got Tony Finn coming on, a couple of baseball games, and we have Kyle Anthony to end the show. Some fights going on this weekend, and you know how good Kyle is, brother. How are you, man? I know you had one of those got out of your house nights last night. Hope you had fun, dude.
Sure. So just to be specific, Dave Cokin's going to break down the Astros and the Red Sox, the Yankees and the Twins. Tony Finn's also going to talk about the Astros and the Red Sox. He too will break down the Utah Jazz and the LA Clippers tonight in Big Game Breakdown. I'll be talking about the other NBA game this evening, the Bucks and the Nets. And of course, Kyle Anthony, I mean, he's got the main event he's going to break down, the co-main event he's going to break down. It should be a loaded show. You talked about it, Prez. Yeah, actually got out of the house last night. I have a buddy in town. We went and played a little cards at, where do we go? Bellagio. And I haven't been at a live card room in like a year plus, man. It was fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed myself. It wasn't fun losing my plays last night, especially the way it went down at the end of the Nuggets-Suns game with that game staying just under the total. Nonetheless, it was
Teddy,
good to get out and about, and it's good to do something because, you know how it is, man. You sit around the house too long, you get a little stir crazy. You're in that boat right now, Prez.
That I am, although I have a good afternoon planned. Carmine is coming by and a couple of friends. We're just going to spend the day at the pool. I don't do that very often. 6 days a week. And yeah, it's going to be, it's a beautiful day weather-wise. I was on the over last night as well in that basketball game. And man, oh man, Teddy, I mean, I lost Utah by half a point 2 nights ago. I lost last night's over by a bucket. But, and I know nobody cares, it was a good sesh. I had no TV on last night. I finally had a night. Anyway, dude, what did we learn last night in the wonderful world of sports betting?
Sure. So I got to talk about another lesson for me from Big Game Breakdown yesterday, which is, I talked about it. And I was on a heck of a run. I've been on a heck of a run through the end of April, into the beginning of May. The last couple of days haven't been as good. And I'm tapping the brakes on unit size right now. When you're on a monster run, when I'm on a monster run, I up my unit size. And I tap the brakes on that. Here's what I said yesterday on Big Game Breakdown. I said pedigree/history versus matchups. Who's a healthy team? Phoenix. They're going to win the series. The -$4 on the series price is warranted. I'm looking for spots to back Phoenix, not Denver. I talked about how the guard problems for the Nuggets weren't going to go away in this series the way they did last series. So I figured it out in terms of who I'm supposed to bet. And then the market said, there's no zigzag here. You know, game one was -4.5. Game two, -6 at the open. And then Bettors drove it down. And several of the sharpest global books closed back up at -6. So I figured it out. The markets told me I figured it out. And yet I didn't bet Phoenix, and I passed on the game. And that's when you know you're a little bit out of sync, back-to-back days where you screw something up that you're supposed to see and you don't. So when you've upped your unit size, you're on a monster run, I bring it back to normal size here. Tap the brakes just a bit. It's not a must pass. It's not, I got to leave everything alone. It's just you're slightly off. You're seeing it, but you're not acting on it. So when that happens, you take a breath, you slow it down, you adjust your unit size, and you come back and fire away. For what it's worth, the MLB shortlist was real good again last night. Each of the last 2 nights I've had losers in MLB, and yet the shortlists have been good. I'm not tapping the brakes there. I still feel like I'm seeing things pretty clearly in Major League Baseball. What about you, Mr. Prez? What did you learn
brother,
last
as
night
I said,
besides your
I
sesh
took.
with the woman?
Oh, hey, we don't discuss that. Come on, that's not appropriate. Teddy,
Which is why
I
you
did
brought it
not
up.
watch much. I did not watch much last night, so instead of telling you what I learned, I'll just tell you what I got. I got a phone call about 10 minutes ago from a incredibly savvy gambling friend of mine who likes the Brew Crew today. That game starts at 12:35. Milwaukee Brewers minus 115. So I just put a small little wager on that. Didn't have enough time to get it up for my clients, but that is all I got for you, bro. Let's bring him in, Dave Cokin. Dave, we're really hoping Debbie calls. How's Debbie?
She's okay.
Excellent.
I have come to the
loquacious
conclusion, by the
Yep.
way, that I have the
Uh-oh.
most comfortable chair of anybody who does this show.
Winner chicken. Teddy says no. Well, you know what? I
like my
will
chair, is all
come
I'm gonna
down.
say.
You don't have
I
a
will
thing for
come
your
down
head,
to-
though. See, I do.
I don't want a thing for my head. I
Well,
want
at my
because
age, I need all the support I can get. So even head support is a plus.
Because
Yeah.
when I'm sitting at the computer and I have the thing for my head, I'm a little bit more relaxed. I'm a little bit slower, and I want to be bang, 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 bang. I want that head to have to bounce
Well,
around.
I'm not. Yeah, but I'm not work. But see, I'm not working right now. If I were working, I'd be leaning forward like this. But now
Yeah.
I'm in relax mode, and I've got a headrest, and you don't. So
Yeah, but you're
Teddy,
working. You're
sucker.
working the show, man.
nah, this isn't work.
Next Thursday, Dave Cokin live from his bed.
No.
Dave, let's get into it. Let's get into it, brother. What a game. What a series this Vegas Colorado series has been. I mean, just, amazing. I mean, Colorado last game absolutely dominated. They really could have had 6-7 goals in that game. There were 3 goalposts or crossbars to recollection, a couple of just missed empty nets. Plus, Fleury's been standing on his head. The 2 games before that, totally dominated by Vegas, 2-1 in shots, some of them. The 2 best teams in hockey by far playing against each other in the round of 8. Tonight, elimination game, Vegas at home, minus 130, 135, a total of 5.5. And I can't wait to hear what you're going to do in this one.
Well, first off, we'll talk about the game itself. And Colorado is in a tough spot now because they blew game 5. They blew it.
Yep.
Their positional play in the third period with a 2-0 lead was unforgivably bad. Trying a cross-ice seam pass in their own zone backfired completely and led to the first goal. And then the second goal, you got Graves commits way too far on the offensive side. It allows for an odd man rush the other way, and the Golden Knights took advantage of it. You can't make those mistakes. And the Avalanche find themselves in a tough spot because the Golden Knights have all the momentum in this series. And it really brings up an interesting betting scenario because from a situational standpoint, it's all Golden Knights. But from a value standpoint,
Yeah.
line's too high. I mean, the idea of anybody being minus 135 against the Avalanche, I haven't checked, but I would assume that's the highest price there's been on any team all season because they didn't play any non-divisional games this year. And I'm basically 99.9% certain nobody laid 135 to the Avalanche at any point this season in that division. So the value here is with the Colorado side. Now, the way I approached the game was, and this is what I often do in the postseason as opposed to the regular season. In the regular season, unless there's something extraordinary, you'll almost never see me take what I think is a bad price. In the playoffs, I'm more likely to do it. And that's in all sports, NFL, bowls, whatever, because it's a one-game situation. And that's what I did here. It's not a big play for me. It's a small play. But I went with the Golden Knights because I think the situation at this point clearly favors them. So I ate the juice or drank the juice. Teddy, I want to get your thoughts on not specifically the game because I know you don't follow hockey, but just this philosophy as far as betting's concerned, where sometimes will you sometimes sacrifice value because you like a side, or is the value first? And it's either take the value or pass the game.
So it's an excellent question. The way I want to start is, and why do we say this? We eat the juice. We never drink the juice. So we say, I just ate the juice on that. And you're supposed to drink juice. Yeah.
Right.
That's just how we say it. We
eat the
juice. Yes. But in answer to your question, I agree with your strategy, not 100%, Dave, 1,000% when it comes to the postseason. You spend all regular season, and that's why handicapping the regular season and handicapping the postseason are two different animals. All right. And handicapping game 1 of a series and handicapping game 5 or 6 of a series is a different animal as well. But specifically, when it comes to as we get towards the end of playoff series, when the mental aspect of a team overshadows, when there's an issue that happens that's going to mentally affect the team, like the Avs blowing the lead and blowing the game and all of that supersedes everything when it comes to handicapping the next game, even quote unquote value. So I'm always looking, especially in these one game spots, one playoff game, I'm always going to look for the team I think is in the better spot, even if I have to lay a little bit of extra juice to do it. Right?
And closing on this game, I made it's just a 2% play for me, a very small play on the Golden Knights, because again, I'm not getting the right price, but I like the situation for Vegas. And look, there is pressure on the Golden Knights here too. They need to win this game. Yep. They don't want to go back to Colorado for Game 7. They have to go back for Game 7. They're in trouble. So they better get it done tonight. And obviously for the Avalanche, it's win or go home. They have not been very good in elimination games the last couple of years. So we'll see what happens here.
Dave Cokin, everybody, plus 320 for a tie in that game, guys. I think there's probably a little bit of value going into overtime on that game. Dave, let's talk some baseball. Astros versus Reds. And, well, Boston's lost 2 in a row, and Houston has lost 3 in a row, 2 against Boston. Minus 110 for the Red Sox, a total of 9. How are you handicapping this game?
Eduardo Rodriguez is the main focus here. He has not been pitching well, but he is off a good start against the Yankees. He has a really odd ledger this season. He's made 11 starts, and only 3 of them have been at home. The other 8 have all been on the road. He hasn't been very good on most of those road starts. At home, he's got an average game score of 58, which is pretty good. But that pales in comparison to what Zach Greinke is doing for the Astros. They're 5-1 when he starts on the road, 10-3 overall. His game score average at home isn't very good, but on the road, it's spectacular. 68. I mean, that's elite level, especially over 6 starts. I mean, it's not that small a sample. OPS on the road, 0.467. That's incredible. I don't know how he does it, because, he can't break glass basically at this point. But boy, his command is really something. You get into the team stuff. The Astros on the season against lefties on the road have a 143 WRC plus, which is absurdly high. Their current form, their last 7 days, a 165 WRC plus. And that weighted runs created plus is my favorite offensive stat. So the Astros are going nuts offensively. The Red Sox, not bad, but can't compare. I think you got a pitching edge, and I think you got an offensive edge. The bullpen edge is with Boston. I don't like the Houston bullpen particularly. So first 5 innings, Astros.
So I want to ask you this, Dave. Are you a guy that worries about the sweep at all? That, the home team getting swept, or, I know a lot of handicappers that in the final game of a series, they're less likely to get involved with the team that won the first game, few games, especially if it's a good team that's on the verge of getting swept. So let me ask.
Simple answer to that. Ralph Michaels can give you the numbers on it. The only situation I think where it matters a little is home favorites are trying to avoid a 3-game sweep. I think that's a profitable go with. But beyond that, I think most of the sweep situations are basically break even. There's nothing. So it's still, to me, it's an individual game matchup. And I don't really care much about the sweep thing. And the Red Sox would not qualify here because they're not really home favorites. The game's basically a pick 'em.
Dave Cokin, everyone. Dave, Yankees Twins 11 is the total. Yankees minus 130. You can find those odds over at wagertalk.com. Click on our live odds page. It is incredible. You guys should have that live odds page on your screen 24/7, even while you're sleeping. Dave, how do we handicap this one?
Is that total really that high? Yeah. Jeez. Wow. I didn't really look at this game very, very deeply. I threw it out fairly quickly. So I didn't realize the total was that high. And I was going to say that I lean to the over, but I do anyway. King hasn't shown anything. He's not a number 5 starter. He's like a number 8 starter, but the Yankees don't have anybody else. So he's out there and he has not looked good. So the Twins should be able to hit him. Yankees showing some offense. And when Stanton goes on one of his streaks, and he looks like he might be on one right now, that middle of the lineup becomes kind of fearsome. Jay Happ has done well against the Yankees over the years. He's been kind of a Yankee killer, 8-4 lifetime against them with a pretty good ERA. And I don't know what that means, but it exists. I don't know what to do with the game. I don't want the Twins because they just never beat the Yankees. And I'm there's no way I'm putting money on King. So I guess you can make a case for the over. At least it's fun when you bet an over. You can sit back and root for everybody to hit the baseball. But I don't have anything of substance on this game, and I wish I'd have picked another one to talk about because I've just wasted 2 minutes and given you absolutely nothing.
Well, let me ask you this, because it's supposed to be like 95 and humid. The ball was carrying like crazy at Target Field yesterday. In these situations where it's going to be hazy, hot, and humid, are you looking to bet overs, or is it a situation where it's still got to be the matchups and it's still got to be the pitchers that you're looking for, the lineups that you're looking for before you're going to get involved? Will a weather forecast push you over the total with an over?
No, it's an add-on. It's a nice bonus. If I'm looking for an under and the wind's blowing in, that's a good thing. And if I'm looking for an over, I might have said that right. If I'm looking for an under, I'll take the wind blowing in. If I'm looking for an over, I'll take the wind blowing out. But it's the last thing I look at, basically.
Dave, Teddy, one of our absolute best listeners, watchers, viewers, Jessica, and she is here every single day. She was hoping we'd talk about the Blue Jays White Sox. Do either of you have an opinion on this game? It's basically a pick 'em, Keuchel versus Ryu.
Not a
Dave,
bet for
Teddy?
me, but if I'm the Blue Jays, I'm concerned about Ryu. His velocity drop is noticeable. And, you lose a couple of miles an hour up your stuff, you suddenly get very hittable. And the White Sox can do damage against lefties. There's no question about that. Dallas Keuchel has been more fortunate than anything else this year. He's 5-1. The White Sox are 5-1 in his home starts, 8-4 overall. But he's been a below average pitcher on the season. Despite the fact neither team is crushing the ball right now, I think I would look at the over in this ball game. I don't like what I have. There are red flags on Ryu, and Keuchel's pretty hittable.
And I have Teddy, a free play up on that game, up and available right now. I just wrote it up before we came on air. You can check it out over at WagerTalk or sportsmemo.com on my homepage or on the free picks page.
We have a minute or two. Caleb wanted to know about Atlanta, Philadelphia. I really love when these guys ask questions. I want to bring them into the show. Dave, do you have any thoughts on that game? And then we'll call it a day.
I got priced out on it. If this was minus 130, I'd have been on the Phillies. Wheeler's been absolutely great at home. Not just good, he has been great at home for the Phillies. But the market and the odds makers knew that as well, and they pushed it up in the minus 150 range. I don't want to lay that much against Ian Anderson. The Braves are not playing good baseball right now. The Phillies are the Phillies. You don't know what you're going to get from one game to the next, particularly with their bullpen, which is completely erratic. But had this been lower, I'd have gone first 5 Phillies. But this goes back into what we were talking about earlier on the Golden Knights Avalanche. In the regular season, value does become important, and I think the value is lost here. So I like the Phillies, but I can't bet it at the price.
Dave Cokin, everyone. Dave, awesome stuff. We love having you on the show every Thursday, same time. Best sports gambling show out there. Guys, please hit the like button, the thumbs up button for us. It's really important, and it takes only a second. Dave?
And I need to I want to plug today's first pitch. I will be giving out my best bet on the baseball schedule. You won't have to buy it. I mean, if you want to buy it, that's fine. But I would suggest watching first pitch because you will get the game free of charge. And I will be posting a free play shortly. It's on the hockey game, so you already know what I like there. But watch it anyway because I get excited when I see big numbers on the views.
There you go. And listen, guys, at Dave's age, excitement is important.
Yep.
So
you're not kidding.
Make sure to cater to Dave. Hit that like button, everyone. And Dave, thanks so much for joining us, guys. We are a third of the way through. We got Teddy's big game breakdown, Tony Finn, Kyle Anthony, and yesterday 2-0 with the Islanders and the over in the penalty box segment. So stay with us all the way to the end. We'll be right back.
Want up to the minute scores and odds direct from Las Vegas? Then check out our WagerTalk odds page. You'll get all the latest lines along with moves as they happen from all the biggest books in Las Vegas, including Westgate Superbook, Circa, Golden Nugget, Wynn, Stations, CG, and South Point, just to name a few. Best of all, it's absolutely free.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. Let's talk about the Nets and the Bucks. Game 3 this evening. The first two games of this series have been fairly one-sided. The Nets won game 1 comfortably. They won game 2 in blowout fashion. Obviously, arguably the worst game the Bucks have played in the last couple of months. Now, in the regular season, Milwaukee had 4 losses by 20 or more. And each time they bounced back strong with the win. They beat some pretty good teams, the Heat, the Grizz, the Lakers in that span. And they blew out those teams by an average of 19 points a game following those ugly losses. This wasn't a team that lost 2 in a row very often. They lost 2 in a row back in April. They bounced back to beat Philly in back-to-back games. Had a good history against the Nets in the regular season. You know, they beat them also in a back-to-back set or 3 games in or 2 games in 3 days. They weren't comfortable wins, but both times by 3 and by 6 points, they got the job done. So the question we have to ask ourselves, does anything from the regular season matter anymore? Or is this all about, do we care about Milwaukee's history and what they did back then? Or is it all about these current matchups? And certainly the biggest difference between these two teams through 2 games is the Nets are 36 for 81 from 3-point range, 44%. And the Bucks are 14 of 57 from 3-point range, 24%. And that is the biggest difference in the series so far. Now, we've seen Brooklyn up 2-0 against Boston go for game 3, and they lost that game 3. I don't think the Nets played bad in that game. Jason Tatum went nuts. And it was a Tatum game, and basically everyone on the Celtics played. That was by far the best game they played in the series. So the question we have to ask ourselves, does Milwaukee have that type of game in it? Is this a game that we would expect Chris Middleton to go nuts, or Jrue Holiday to go nuts, or Giannis to go nuts, or the bench to go nuts? Look at Budenholzer's teams. They tend to underachieve. You look at the quotes coming out of the Bucks locker room, and again, I got a whole stack of them. We're a loaded show. I'm not going to read them all. But Jrue Holiday, we feel like we're better than the way we're playing, and we know that. But at this point, we can't really be down. We've got to stay positive. Read between the lines of that quote. I don't like it at all. Kevin Durant's quote, for the most part, we did what we were supposed to do, win 2 games at home. We got to see if this game's going to travel on the road for us, and we got to stay locked in. That's kind of the quote I'm expecting. I can understand the thought process for Milwaukee, and this is not a big bet for Brooklyn on me tonight. Certainly, any conspiracy theorists are going to be on the Bucks tonight, game 4 on Sunday. They want the views. It's a lot more interesting at 2-1. I would not be shocked to see Milwaukee win this game at all. That said, if I'm playing, I want the dog. The dogs win. Brooklyn is the better of these two teams. Brooklyn is going to win this series, and they're catching points tonight. So while I understand the spot for Milwaukee, for me, the bigger picture of the handicap is I want my money on Brooklyn, not Milwaukee. Nets or pass for this better. There you have it, Prez. Back to you.
Teddy covers outstanding. Teddy, I had a few people over last night for dinner, and there's a couple of my friends, and they're very up on my gambling. Like every time they come over all the time, and it's always like I'm watching sports and praying to win. They came up with the name of my book. You know, I did try to start writing. I started to write a book on how to bet. I got to page 4. That was 6 months ago. I haven't moved since. But they came up with a name
Recently.
I Need a Goal. That would be the name. I Need a Goal. It was so funny because that's what I'm saying every time. Joe, come on the show. Joe, come on the show. Joe
Joe's
threw
throwing
up in his mouth.
He doesn't like that.
That will be the better name. Joe throws up in his mouth. Anyway, I Need a Goal. I love that name. I think it's great. And Joe has decided it's time for Tony Finn. Tony, welcome to the show, bro.
A New York bestseller. A title for a New York bestseller.
See, Teddy and Joe, Tony knows. He gets it. Anyway, dude, welcome back. We love having you on, but we got to get moving. Let's get straight into this Houston-Boston game. We heard Dave break it down. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Well, I didn't hear Dave break it down, but I'll make it very quick and very simple. And that is that right now, Houston is playing some of the best baseball they've played in a long time. I would say poster, or at least 2019, before last year. They're hitting the ball better than that. If you've looked at their rise in all the variables, all the categories across the league, they're the top OPS team in baseball right now. They've overtaken teams that have started fast and are slumping, and pitchers are having to pay attention to the base runners. They're stealing bases. They're putting the bat on the ball. And the two pitchers that are going today, Greinke, first off, Greinke, of the current lineup that Boston is going to field or can field, they have a 179 batting average against, 269 OBP, and a 625 OPS. Look over to E. Rodriguez, and of the active Houston lineup, they're hitting 352 against the Boston Red Sox starter, 359 on base percentage, and about a 933 OPS. Houston, listen, if you're sleeping on Houston right now, and in truth, listen, I think we have to overpay for Houston. I thought we've had to overpay Houston all year. I don't believe that was the case in this series. I thought all the prices were not only fair, I thought they were a value, and I think tonight is the same thing. It is basically a pick 'em or a minus 120. I haven't looked at the recent price, but Houston is a play tonight with Greinke, the savvy vet on the mound.
Yeah.
I want to ask you this, Tony. Greinke now 8-0 to the over in his last 8 starts. Is that random, or is that something bettors might want to consider along with the way?
Are we talking about as far as Houston supporting him, or him being pedestrian at best?
His last 8 starts, the Astros are 8-0 to the over. Is that a trend worth riding? Is that something that is just static and random?
I think it's static and random. Let's put it this way. In 3 of his last 4 starts, he's given up 1 earned run. And in all of those, he pitched 8, 6, 8, and 9 innings. So if you're depending on getting over because of Greinke's performance, I think you might be making a mistake.
That's a great point, Tony. Tony, let's talk basketball. Teddy just did a breakdown for us on the Milwaukee Bucks game. You're going to look at the Utah LA Clippers game. Utah -3. There are a couple of 3.5s on the board. Total of 2.5. How are you betting this game?
Well, I can't stand in front of the train that's the Jazz. I mean, I thought they might be rusty, a little bit of a hangover from their too much rest, and they were. In truth, at one point in this game, let's make this one simple too. At one point in this game, Utah missed 21 consecutive shots in the first quarter over a 7-minute period. They won the game. They not only that, Rudy went 2 for 6 with just 10 points in the opening game. And they won. They didn't have Conley. And when Conley's on the floor with Rudy, he shoots 80% from the field in that pick and that P&R, in that pick and roll. And that's one of the most efficient pick and rolls in the league is Conley and Gobert. And they still won without Conley. I could go on and on. I mean, they depended on here's a team that the Clippers who actually got some production from their bench. Kennard, 18 points. Zubac, who didn't start because he was going small, added 11. But Terrence Mann only played 8 minutes. And Lou said the fatigue was really the issue in game one, and that that's why he was giving seemingly 100 other players minutes and resting his first rotation or his first 5. But the truth is, all this, they still were stressed. This team was still stressed at the end of the game because they had a chance to tie it at the end with one shot. Morris misses the shot. And long story short is this. We know, all of us know, Teddy knows, Lawrence, that really the Clippers had no answer for Luka in the first 2 games of that series with Dallas, first round series. But listen, they have answers for Luka. They must have answers for Luka because Luka is Dallas. If they don't have answers for one star, then how do you stop 7, 8 stars, guys that play at space and pace? That's the most difficult thing for an NBA team to defend right now. It's almost impossible to defend. That's why we see totals going up and up. The skill set of guys shooting from 30 feet is very difficult to defend. I don't expect the Clippers to have any more energy than they had in that game 1 where they were missing everything short. Shots were all short in the fourth quarter. They're tired. I'm not even sure they're confident they can win. And in this case, in a game where you're laying a short number like a 3 in Utah with a sold-out crowd, it's tough for me to stand in front of the Jazz and support the Clippers. I like the Jazz minus the number.
So do we have any word on Conley's status for tonight?
I
he's
do.
Playing? Is he still questionable? What do you got?
He's a game-time decision, and I give him a 20% chance of playing. I don't believe that he will play. I think they're going to give him another day, and they'll play it the same. They're going to probably line up the same way they lined up in game 1. The question for me, Teddy, is what does Lou do? I don't think that Tyrone's done a very good job making adjustments, and I'm curious as to whether they're going to go small again. I think if they go small, I think that we're going to have the same results we had in game 1.
Tony Finn, everybody. Tony, awesome stuff and great breakdown on the Utah game. What do you have to promote for tonight?
I have 2 baseball, and I have both. I have a position in both games. The early game with the Nets and the Bucks, as Teddy broke down, and again, I have a position on the late game with Utah and the Clippers. You can get all 4 in one bunch in one click of the mouse. $29 only at WagerTalk.
Awesome stuff, Tony and everybody.
Yeah.
Kyle Anthony on his way in. Teddy, let's welcome everyone into the chat room. Joey Falcone. What a name. I mean, I would use the name Joey Falcone as a handicapping name. That is quality. And Abid, we love seeing you. Dan Smith, Yayo, Joe Esposito, Jessica, Eric. It's so awesome to have the same people. You start recognizing them. You're watching them in the chat room. It's wonderful stuff. Teddy, have you started taking apart the NFL? When does your NFL handicapping kick in?
6 weeks ago, after the NFL draft.
Oh,
and really once the schedule was released was when I started. I mean, I'm doing a team every day. I've done a team every day, and then in terms of the NFL season win report, that's probably going to come early July. That's what it's looking like.
Well, you know what?
less than a month away.
Starting next week, maybe we could talk about one of these teams you're doing a day. Heads up, everybody. Steve Merrill will be co-hosting with me tomorrow. Teddy got a note that the internet will be down in his area, so Steve Merrill will be joining me tomorrow.
A planned internet outage in my area that may or may not be done by the time we get on air. So to make it safe, rather than have me freeze 15 times, we'll put Merrill on tomorrow. Yeah. I'll be back again on Monday, and it's not because I don't love you guys. Just rather safe than sorry.
Yeah, and also tomorrow's show, Rob Vino, Ski Profits, and Tokyo Brandon coming on. But right now, Teddy, the women are screaming, the men are upset. It's Kyle freaking Anthony joining us. Kyle, yeah, dude, I give you man love. I have no problem with that. I mean, listen, I'm annoyed at you. You insult my pull-ups and you don't post a thing. Arm wrestle?
Yeah, they were bad. They were bad, man. They were bad. But we don't need to get into that again. We've hammered that part home. We've hammered that home already.
Yeah, you're a wimp. Just want to get that out there. I kick your ass. Kyle, man.
Teddy. Can I make a number?
Yes. Set the line, Teddy. Set the line.
I got. So let's see. Prez smoke.
Kyle minus 3 million.
I was thinking 10,000 is the appropriate number. You know, we'll get some buyback on you at plus $8,000 because maybe he's hungover or something. Did something the night before.
He does have balls. He has balls. They will be available to kick.
But he's got to outweigh you by.
You may want to bet the prop disqualification. I think you may want to bet the prop there.
Yeah. So you think Kyle outweighs me at what are you 185, 190?
185.
Wow, that was impressive.
Are we in the same weight class? We're in the same weight class. That's what we are.
No, I'm 164.
If you guys are in the same weight class, I'm making Kyle minus 100,000 instead of minus 10,000. Because that means you're fat.
Guys, let's get into it. Kyle, Kyle, let's go, man. We got some fights to talk about. Main event, Adesanya, man. I mean, this guy, all world. I almost swore there. All world fighting Vettori. Israel's minus 270. You want to talk about the method of victory? I hand the mic to you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is a great fight. I mean, this is a fight that happened back in 2018, and it was Adesanya's second fight. So a lot has changed. You know, if you like Vettori, a lot of people are really looking back to that. It was a split decision win for Israel Adesanya. And the big thing there was, could you take him down? Could he get taken down? Could you keep him there? Could he make it a brawl? Could he keep it tight? And he was able to do that in that third round, and Adesanya did get the victory. But a lot of people really in their mind was the last fight for Adesanya, which he fought Jan Blachowicz, went up a division, fought him. And the big thing that makes Adesanya so good is really his range, is really his length, is really his... Hello, we here?
Yeah, Kyle, you froze. But listen, dude, on behalf of the women in the chat room, if anyone's going to freeze, let it be you.
So the big thing there was with that fight against Jan Blachowicz was that Blachowicz, the range and everything, he didn't have that. Adesanya had a 2-inch reach advantage. He wasn't the bigger guy. He wasn't able to really utilize the things that make him really great. And this fight here against Vettori, he's going to be able to do that. He's going back down into his division to middleweight. He's going to have a 6.5-inch reach advantage. He's going to be the bigger guy, going to be able to use his range. We're not in the apex center where it's going to be the smaller cage. He's going to be able to move around. So for me here, I mean, I like method of victory play. And getting off the big number of minus 260, the knockout is plus 190. I think that's a great number here. I think that he goes out there, he puts a stamp on it, and reminds people why he is so damn good. And he goes out there and gets the finish. Vettori doesn't have the striking to stand with him. 85% takedown defense for Israel Adesanya. I think it really just plays nicely for him to get the knockout.
We're talking UFC 263 on Saturday night with Kyle Anthony, and that was the main event. We got a co-main event. The other one, Figueiredo against Moreno. Is that right?
Yes,
Yeah, I left
minus
that
two-
one to you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I left that
Minus
one to you,
230.
Teddy. I'm like,
Moreno in the plus 185 range. What do we do with the co-main event on Saturday night?
So this is another one here where I think it's a nice spot for a prop here. And you've got these two guys. They fought back in December. It was a great fight. Fight of the year fight. I mean, they just went out there and brawled. The big thing here was Figueiredo has that range. He has that striking. He has that power. And his thing is that he's really steamrolled everybody. Out of his last 8 UFC appearances, 6 were by finish, which is massive. Just before the Moreno fight, he had 4 straight finishes. 3 of them came in the first round. I mean, he's been able to steamroll people. The difference here with Moreno is Moreno has the chin, and he was able to withstand the barrage. And the early striking, the early heavy shots, I think Figueiredo was kind of surprised he was still there into that second and third round. I think he utilized a lot of his cardio. I think he went out there, threw some big shots, and just could not put him away. I thought he actually did win it, regardless of the point taken away from him for the low blow. And a big part of this also is that Figueiredo was in the hospital with food poisoning the night before. Now, that's not a rumor. That is actually, that's a fact. He was there. Dana White talked about it. His own team talked about it. So the fact that he went 5 rounds with who knows what level of food poisoning or what it may have been, but that has to be a part of this. So if he's coming in at 100%, I think he's got a great opportunity to go out there and really put on a good showing against Moreno. I think Figueiredo at plus 205 via knockout, another knockout, I think is a great number. You're getting off the bigger number. And I think that they're both, that Moreno is very, very hittable. And I think he lands a big shot to get the victory in the knockout.
listen, I thought you were really hittable, and then I watched you talk on the show. And I realized that maybe you're not that hittable. Jesus Christ, dude! I mean, are you on meth or something? Oh my lordy, Kyle!
No, high on life, Prez. High on life.
Oh, we love you, bro. We hate your microphone, but we love you. Eric Anders against Darren Stewart, minus 160 to the favorite. Anders, what do you got for us? And try bob and weave extra hard while delivering.
All right, I will. Just for you. This right here is another one where it happened. This is the second time that they fought. They fought in March. And the reason that they're fighting again was there was an illegal knee. And now in that fight, Anders went out there 4 minutes into the fight, fought very well, really good, pressure, had him up against the fence, and it looked like it was going to be a possible finish for Anders. And what it was that illegal knee. Stewart goes down, lands the knee. We do this all over again. Now, the big thing with Anders is he has had low volume striking for most of his career. Just low volume, big shots, looking to wrestle. And Stewart, who definitely is a little better technically, has good wrestling. The big change here is that this fight, when it happened in March, Stewart was a minus 180 favorite. I actually capped it. I liked him in that spot. Didn't bet it because I thought it was maybe a minus 130, maybe somewhere in there. Here now you're getting plus money on a fight that happened for 4 minutes. Not going to happen the same way. I think that Stewart can grind out a victory here. I think he could really push forward. And I think this is a great spot for him to go out there, grind out a decision victory, and get the win. And again, the plus number, I think, is a great number right now for him.
Plus 130. Kyle Anthony, man, thank you for joining us. What do you have for the clients for these fights? Yeah, stop it. Behave.
I have 5 plays up for UFC 263 this weekend. Excited about it. 2 4% plays that are in that package. I did hit both of my 2 4% plays last weekend, so let's keep it going.
Excellent stuff, Kyle Anthony, everybody. Kyle, you're welcome to stick around. We're going to the most watched segment on the planet. I mean, literally, Bill Gates called. He's like, Prez, let's go. You're late. Joe, plop me in that penalty box. Penalty Box segment time. What a great show we had today at Wager Talk Today. You can hear us every day, 12 to 1 Eastern. Teddy and myself. We had Kyle Anthony on today, Dave Cokin, Tony Finn. Tomorrow's show, Vino, Hakeem Profits, and Tokyo Brandon. Stay with us every day, all week long. Let's get into it. Teddy, penalty box. Here's my picks. Avs game. Somebody in the chat room asked me, do I take Dave Cokin's opinion on that Avs game into account? I don't. I mean, I do my own handicapping in a silo, and I put up what I put up, and I almost rarely look at what the other guys are doing to begin with. I just happen to hear Dave because he's on the show today. I like the over in the game today. Look, I lost on the over with my what? What's going on?
You got a voice in your ear.
Oh, I had a voice in my ear and I thought it was the devil. Anyway, I like the over in the Avs game tonight. I like the Avs in the first period as well. I also like the Milwaukee Bucks. Teddy and I disagree there. And I like Utah Jazz in the first half. So to summarize, 4 picks for you guys. Over in the Avs game, Colorado in the first period, Milwaukee Bucks, and the Utah Jazz in the first half. Teddy, I hope you have an awesome day tomorrow. You certainly deserve a day off. I know you got a buddy in town. You're going to be playing cards. I wish you nothing but the best tonight.
Oh, yeah, but tomorrow I got to work. I got to do my serious show tomorrow. So it's I have a planned internet outage. Otherwise, I'd be on the show. It's not because I'm out partying. I got work to do. That said, it was fun to play cards for a couple hours.
Then why don't you
because
party
I work
tonight?
every morning. I'm just not. I don't because my clients wouldn't appreciate that. That being said, that's going to wrap it up for the Thursday edition. Lawrence already thanked all of our guests. I want to thank all of our viewers for taking time out of their busy day to hang out with us. Please, before you leave, give us a like, give us a follow, give us a subscribe. We really appreciate it. Again, tomorrow's show, Locked and Loaded. It'll be Prez and Merrill, noon on the East Coast, 9 a.m. here on the left coast. Between now and then, enjoy the games and good luck.
Want up-to-the-minute scores and odds direct from Las Vegas? Then check out our WagerTalk odds page. You'll get all the latest lines along with moves as they happen from all the biggest books in Las Vegas, including Westgate Superbook, Circa, Golden Nugget, Wynn, Stations, CG, and South Point, just to name a few. Best of all, it's absolutely free.